Hello, and welcome to the Sixes of the Tarot. Today we'll hit the highlights of the sixes of the Minor Arcana to help you with your own readings and the readings you do for others. Tarot can be used to gain insight and understanding into a variety of areas, including relationships, career, and personal growth. Before we begin, I just want to say that the meanings I present today are the ones I've found to be most often the truth, just in my experience and practice. But your practice and experience may be different. That's totally fine, and neither of us are wrong. All I hope in any case is that there's something in here that you can use or find helpful in some way. So with that, let's dig in. The sixes in the Minor Arcana of the Tarot typically represent a rest stop after the challenges of the fives. Something has been overcome. We survived and came out the other side. But what was on the other side? Have you ever felt a short period of being lost or aimless after a hard fight or an effort that took all your strength to achieve? That is sort of what the vibration of six feels like, being between worlds almost. We're starting to see how everything fits together. This tree of life is a diagram used in Kabbalah, which is a form of mysticism with origins in Judaism, and it's a way to visualize the different facets of divinity. The circles, or Sephiroth, represent the different containers of that divine energy, and the paths represent the different ways in which that divine form of intelligence interacts with the world. The Tree of Life is made up of 10 spheres, or Sephiroth, which are connected by 22 paths. Each Sephira represents a different aspect of the divine, and the paths represent the connections between them. The ultimate goal of Kabbalah is to understand and connect with the Sephirah in order to achieve enlightenment and union with the divine, however you perceive it. The Smith Rider-Waite deck was created by members of the Golden Dawn, and while we don't talk about that history today, what we can see clearly is that the deck makes many references and connections to Kabbalah. For instance, each path on the Tree of Life corresponds to a Hebrew letter, and each major arcana card corresponds to a Hebrew letter. Then when we use the deck and peel back each layer of each card, all of that wisdom and understanding kind of harmonizes into a meaning or an insight we can use. In my practice, I use the Tree of Life to help find the roots of issues that I consult tarot on. So that's why each of those videos will touch on this topic as it relates. The sixth Sephira of the Tree of Life in Kabbalah is called Tiferet, which holds meanings connected to harmony or balance in Hebrew. In Kabbalistic thought, Tiferet is the container that balances the overflow of Chesed and the constraints of Geburah. Tiferet holds love and pain together, just like our hearts do. The Sephira is sometimes called beauty, and in this context, it's the attracting qualities that let us feel relief after pain. A depth of meaning we didn't have before that makes our experience richer and fuller. The numerical correspondence for the Knights of the Minor Arcana, as well as the Lovers and the Devil card in the Major Arcana, have something in common with Tiferet. They vibrate in the sixes. If you looked at these cards right now, what does it look like to you? The Knights are air, the intellectual realm, and as concepts can show us how we approach our quests. After all, a knight isn't known for sitting around. They're known for going out into the world to accomplish goals and tasks. The suit of a knight tells us why and how they go about that, but they all venture out in some direction of some idea of the same. They are connecting forces. The Lovers teaches us that our choices are led by our ethics and are our greatest tool. The Devil shows us how we bind ourselves with the choices we make. The sixes show us what we are deciding to do with our personal power, and others are involved. Begin with the Six of Wands, which is also called the Lord of Victory. There is no other card with this energy of loud accomplishment. Leo is not subtle, and Jupiter is the great benefic. This card is like getting a high five from the universe because you've made it. You're sitting at the top of the wheel of fortune and every door is open. Why shouldn't it be? You earned this, whatever it is. Only in combination with challenging cards or context can this card have a shadow side. But even then, it's still indicating that a victory of some sort is relevant. In the reversal, we have a new set of options for how this card is communicating with us. Depending on the topic being read on, we can see the situation as being intensified, delayed, internalized, projected, resisted, lessened, pulled back, pushed forward. All of that, it's your job as the interpreter to figure out which one applies, or which many apply. As always, the cards that surround or that you pull to clarify will tell you what it really means. Many times when this card appears reversed, there is something that's not getting the attention it should, or there's a desire to keep something under wraps. The Six of Swords is similar in ways to the journey taken on the river Styx, where the souls that were trying to move on did so with the help of a guide. Short trips by water are a common meaning, but otherwise the trip is a metaphor for seeking assistance, getting through something difficult, or making a transition. What's interesting is that you can feel this card. You can feel the movement of the guide behind you as they dip the pole into the water and push the boat forward. Nobody is speaking. The only sound is the murmuring of the water when it's disturbed. We've all made this journey, many times, many turns on our planet. This is one of the cards in the deck that you don't need to learn the meanings for because you can just feel them. On the lighter side, this can mean just a vacation or a trip. Its depiction of a guide and its intellectual suit also allow this. In the reversal, we're at the brink. The stuff is about to hit the fan because we have confusion, frustration, anger, all converging. If someone comes to you and this card appears, you need to let them know they can just spill it all. The confusion and inability for them to see what they need to do next can be improved by letting them get it all out. They know they've been letting things go for too long as they are. It's time to make a change, as uncomfortable as that's going to be. On the mundane side of things, it could be as simple as returning an item or making someone aware of a problem, like a non-emergency police report or a low-star review for a restaurant. This is a card of the past. We all remember a time when we were younger, and maybe things were easier, simpler. We had fewer responsibilities on our shoulders. Hopefully, most of us also equate our younger selves with a sense of safety that we sort of miss now that we're older and on our own. The past element and depiction of a child on the card is what makes this card one that speaks about childhood and the emotional security we may no longer have. This card can make us feel sort of sad, but we do need to remember that our hearts hold pain and joy together in balance. We don't always appreciate our past experiences until we can look back on them from a different height. Interestingly, this card is also a card for missing things. You miss the good old days. Well, I guess you might also be missing something that you used to have. This card works pretty hard because in the reversal, it can describe a wide range of conditions, including troubling issues with children, all the way to the paranormal. Haunting is actually a good way to remember this card, because whatever's going on is following like a specter. The person knows their situation for what it is, but something is keeping them in the loop of repetition. This is the only card, other than Justice, that shows the scales. The purpose of scales is to balance the weight of one side to the other side. The goal of scales is to assign a value to an item being put in a position to be evaluated. The figure in the card holds perfectly balanced scales, yet is more focused on giving to the figure that is receiving the coins. That said, this card, if not speaking about money and exchanges, is talking about power dynamics and how we wield the influence we have. While this card is super practical in all the meanings it has for money and resources, there is a deeply spiritual aspect. In its reversal, there is a general theme of imbalance. Something to do with money, time, or energy is out of alignment, and we're not feeling good about that. Often the person feeling that is a little bit trapped. A lot of us judge our value as people by what we earn, what we generate, and what we gather up. If we have lots of resources, we are perceived more positively, especially by ourselves. When we're secure and in a constant growth state, we feel like the world is working as it should. We tend to feel shame or pain when setbacks and debts pile up that we can't earn our way out of. Our sense of self-worth is actually attached to our material value and ability to influence others. When those systems are shaken, it can ripple through your soul, like a feeling of being emptied out. If you take away all your earthly value, what do you have left? Thank you so much for watching. There's no way I covered off the many meanings that the cards have. I just tried to hit the highlights. If you have some books from some core writers and teachers of the last 100 years, you have lots of guidance to work with as you develop your psychic and tarot reading skills. I just hope there's something here that you might find useful or that helps a card open up for you as you practice. If you pause the video in different spots, you'll be able to read them as you need them. But if you want to have a printable copy of the cards we've done so far, those are available on the link in the description to a Google Drive folder that I'm keeping these in, so you can refer to it at any time and keep a copy. Hopefully you'll hop over to the next video in the series where we go over the sevens of the minor arcana.